Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, Financial Support and Resources for International Trade. Our apologies for the technical difficulties that we had getting the webinar started. Thank you for your patience. I am your moderator, Jenny Alton, from the NYSBDC Central Office. Today's presenter is our own Jinshui Zhang, the NYSBDC's Director of International Business Development. Just to tell you a little bit more about the NYSBDC, we are a network of 22 campus-based centers and outreach offices across New York State, along with a central office in Albany. The NYSBDC is a U.S. Small Business Administration resource partner. Our free advising, education, and advocacy services are made possible by funding from the SBA, New York State, and our host campuses. So you know this session is being recorded. We will share it after the webinar today. Attendees are muted and will not be on camera. If you have any questions during the presentation, please don't hesitate to type them in the questions box as they come up. We will address questions, time permitting, during a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Jinshui, I will now turn things over to you.
Thank you, Jenny. Good morning, everyone. U.S. small and medium-sized businesses are encouraged to enter the export market and to increase the value of exports for those businesses that are currently exporting. One of the challenges from them is lack of necessary capital and to get access to the financial support for exporting. Funding will help increase small businesses' ability to compete in the international markets. So it becomes necessary for those export businesses to find out financing programs for export and the resources of New York State and the federal to support and grow your business through exporting. So let's talk about some New York State export funding programs first. Probably you have heard of the STEP program. The STEP stands for State Trade Expansion Program. This program started from the year 2013. So now it's step 10 cycle already. So the step 10 is from December 30 last year to December 29 this year. The combined award total is up to $10,000 per funding period because every funding cycle is different for the amount. Companies will not be permitted to attend the same trade show or virtually or physically, or more than 4 times through the life of STEP program. So you have to be eligible to use, the funding for some eligible activities. So STEP funds can assist New York State businesses with the following activities, such as participation in programmed foreign trade missions, subscribe services provided by the U.S. Department of Commerce, such as by the U.S. Commercial Services Good Key Service, trade show exhibition, like both international and qualified domestic trade shows, participation in export training workshops, qualified foreign market sales trips, website content or foreign language translation, development for international marketing campaigns, compliance testing, consultancy services, export credit insurance premium reimbursement. But speaking engagements at a conference is not an eligible activity. New York companies must meet the following eligibility criteria to qualify for the STEP funds. So you must be a for-profit business headquartered or registered to do business in New York State with the New York State Department of State. Manufacture, assemble, and distribute a product with the rights to export, or provide an exportable service. You must be in business for at least 1 year ending on the date on which assistance is provided under the STEP program. Qualify as an eligible small business concern, and you must meet SBA size standards. So you can find from the SBA website for the size standards. And you must have access to sufficient resources to bear the costs associated with trade. And you must have product or service for export that contains at least 51% US content. So you can find the calculation table in the guidelines document at the ESD website for details. And I suppose, presently debarred or suspended, proposed for disbarment, declared ineligible, and or voluntarily excluded from participation by any federal department or agency. You must be in good standing with all New York State government agencies. Site visits and telephone interviews may be conducted to further determine a company's eligibility during the evaluation of the application. There are some of the companies that are not eligible for this grant. For example, businesses acting as intermediaries for other companies, law firms, non-for-profit organizations, educational institutions, companies involved in cannabis, retail, and companies that are recruiting or attracting foreign investment. So probably some of you have heard that, some of the update of the STEP funding status. STEP fund are issued on a first come, first served basis until the program funds are expended. Unfortunately, currently, all the STEP 10 funding has been expended. Applicants are advised to keep a close eye on next cycle funding by visiting their website. So it's said that probably for the STEP 11 funding will somewhat be out early this fall. And but you may submit your application, but it will be placed on hold until further notice. If funding becomes available, you will be notified, of course. So in addition, you are encouraged to apply for the Global New York Grant Fund, which has funding available now. The grant fund program are open to New York State companies and non-for-profit organizations seeking to create or expand direct exports. All exports grants are awarded on a reimbursable basis. Approved grant applications can assist the New York State companies and non-for-profit organizations with the following, such as market customization, participation in trade shows and missions, export workshops, product adaptations to meet foreign regulatory requirements. And ESD is providing grants of up to $25,000 to help companies start exporting or increase their global exports. Grants of up to $100,000 are available to non-for-profit organizations that provide export assistance and trade education to New York State companies. Eligible activities include trade events and education. All exports grants are awarded on a reimbursable basis up to 50% of total project costs. So grant applicants should speak with an ESD Global New York representative for guidance. So failure to do so could significantly delay application review and approval. A directory of ESD Global New York representatives by region will be found at the ESD website. As you know that, they have 10 region representatives that covers almost everywhere. And for eligible profit companies, your business must be located in New York State, having 500 or fewer employees in New York State, intend to begin exporting or expand export sales in foreign markets, must be at least one of the following. So 51% of the value of a finished product or service originates in New York State. A business that is certified as a local producer, usually through a regional chamber of commerce or economic development agency. For example, they can say, made in New York or made in Brooklyn or made in Binghamton, and so on and so forth. Business is viable and in existence for at least 1 year by the date of application for the Global New York Fund grant. You must have demonstrated the need for grant assistance, demonstrated understanding of the costs associated with exporting and doing business with foreign buyers. For example, including the costs of freight, forwarding, customs brokers, packaging or shipping or marketing, and so on and so forth. For non-for-profit organizations, of course, you must be located in New York State. And I have a demonstrated history of helping New York State businesses export and, contribute to state or regional economic development through the promotion of international trade. You must be or become registered and up to date with its filing. Usually you file with the Office of Attorney General's Charities Bureau. And must be certified in the Office of the State Controller's Vendor Rep system and pre-qualified with the New York State Grant Gateway, and also in compliance with all the other relevant statutory requirements. So, an unincorporated trade association may be a co-applicant with a New York State non-for-profit organization, such as local IDA or LDC. And all non-for-profit organizations must be pre-qualified in order to do business with New York State and to apply for grants. In order to pre-qualify, non-for-profit organizations must submit an online pre-qualifications application through the grants gateway. So resources to complete the application and associated document award can be found in the quick links section of the grants gateway website. So you can find all the details there. And the other one is the New York State Loan Fund program. The Global New York Loan Fund is open to New York State companies seeking financing to increase or expand direct exports, or to serve as a supplier to larger exporters. Loans are available to purchase equipment, inventory, working capital, or to support foreign accounts receivable, export lines of credit, or long-term financing. So small businesses new at exporting can apply for loans of up to 100,000. Loans of up to 500,000 are also available for more experienced exporters. For export loans up to 500,000, companies must apply directly through the participating lenders. So you can find the details of the participating lenders on the Global New York website. ESD is also offering interest-free loans of up to 50,000 for distilled and fermented beverage industry businesses to promote New York State's thriving beverage industry on a global scale. Companies must apply to ESD for this loan. So you must be eligible for these loans. So for loans up to $100,000, small businesses, must be a business with 100 or fewer employees, not dominant in its field. Businesses must be headquartered in New York State, of course. Business must have exporting operations in place or having new exporting initiative to be deployed within a year or expanding into a new export markets. You must be startups, born digital businesses shipping goods abroad. And it can be a third-party e-commerce platform-based business operator selling globally. And New York State direct exporters or large suppliers to exporters. Must be a real estate acquisition or improvement for exporting use. You can also use that for development of export business plan, product adaptation for export. Term loans and line of credits are also available for this loan. The interest rate for this program is under 8% per annum. For those companies looking for loans for up to 500,000, you must be a small and medium-sized businesses with fewer than 500 employees with the primary businesses in New York State. New York State direct exporters or large suppliers to exporters are eligible. And it must be at least 51% of export finished product value added in New York State. So usually lenders determine loan terms, such as fees or interest rates or repayment schedules and so on and so forth. So term loans and line of credits are also available. We can finance up to 500,000 for each transaction, the aggregate of 1 million per eligible business. No loan can exceed 10 years, and no unguaranteed portions of EXIM or SBA loans. EXIM stands for Export and Import Bank. Well, foreign credit insurance allowed to be leveraged. And probably some of you already know that ESD is also offering interest-free loans for distilled and fermented beverage industry businesses to promote New York State's thriving beverage industry. And to qualify for this kind of loan, you must be a for-profit business located in New York State again, with 500 or fewer employees. You must be in existence for at least 3 years by the date of application. Must be licensed by the New York State Liquor Authority to produce distilled and or fermented beverages. You must export to foreign markets or plan to start exporting to foreign markets in the next year. And you're supposed to have a plan to utilize zero interest loan to increase export capacity. So that could include purchasing machinery and equipment, developing export marketing plans, website translation, product adaptation, and market certification. So for more detailed information, I encourage you to visit or contact the following. So you can visit the website and esd.ny.gov/global-New York. You can find all the detailed information, procedures, how to apply for that, and also keep track of the status of the funding. If you have any specific questions, you can go to that website to ask your questions, or you can contact them by calling them directly for that. So they will answer all the questions in details. That's the New York State level funding programs for export. And SBA also offers programs that provide lenders with up to 90% guarantee on export loans. There are 3 loan programs from SBA, and the first one is the Export Express Loan. So this loan helps the small businesses develop or expand their export markets. The maximum loan amount for this loan program, in fact, is increased from $250,000 to $500,000 already. And the loan can be used for financing for participating in foreign trade shows or translation services or secure patents and trademarks. Can use that to buy inventory, pay staff wages, and offer credit terms to foreign buyers. And can also use that to issue standby letters of credit that serve as bid, performance bonds, and advance payment guarantees. You can also use that to purchase fixed assets such as equipment or real estate to support international sales. And the maturity for this loan is 5 to 10 years for working capital and 10 to 15 years for machinery and equipment, and up to 25 years for real estate. And the maximum interest rate is as follows. It's prime plus 2.25% for loans of 7 years or less. Prime plus 2.75% for loans over 7 years. And the second program from SBA is the Export Working Capital Program. Loans are targeted to small businesses that can generate export sales and need additional working capital to support the sales. The maximum loan amount also increases from 2 million to 5 million in past years. And that can support a single transaction, multiple contracts, or revolving sales over the year. And the Export Working Capital Program can be used to finance for inventory materials, labor, other production costs, foreign accounts receivable and offering sales terms, insurance and freight costs, banking fees related to the transactions. And I can also, to issue standby letter of credit for bid, performance, or advance payment bonds or guarantees. And this type of loans are typically issued for only 1 year. And also the interest rate is the same as the Export Express loan, the same thing. And the third loan from SBA is the International Trade Loan Program. And this program offers term loans to those businesses that plan to start or continue exporting that have been adversely affected by the competition from imports. And the maximum loan amounts increases from 2 million to 5 million too. So the loan can be used for purchasing machinery or equipment to expand the production in order to meet the foreign demands. And can use money to fund expenses necessary to meet a foreign product standard or licensing. And also, this is a kind of permanent working capital. And the loans can be used for real estate needed as a result of expanding export sales. And the maturity for this loan is 5 to 10 years for working capital, 10 to 15 years for machinery and equipment, and up to 25 years for real estate. And again, the maximum interest rate is the same as the Export Express loan, same thing. So all these 3 loans are already there for quite some years. Not everyone who really in need of those kind of loans know the existence of some of the loans. And I think, for more detailed information, you can contact Edward Echo. Ed is the SBA Export Finance Manager, who is physically located in New York City and covering the area, the whole New York State and the New Jersey area. So you can find his email, his phone number, and also the SBA website. So if you are really interested in the SBA loan programs, please contact Ed directly. there's no other local offices for that part. So Ed is the only one to be contacted. So I think, those are the basics, feasible financing programs for those businesses who are either new at export or who are interested in export, or even those who are already exporting but need more support, for their initiatives. So I think that's the programs. So if you have any questions.
Yes, we do have questions. The first is there any grant program for the export management companies or export trading companies?
Yes, I think, they have some loan programs, but not the grant programs for that. So for example, for the STEP grant, in the past years, every year the total amount is different. And also every year the eligibility is a little different. So they have changes for that. I don't know, hopefully, step 11 recycle could cover that for eligibility. So all the others, you can only take advantage of the loan programs, either in New York State or SBA for trading companies.
Okay, there is another question that I think is about what you've just been talking about. This person wants to know what documentation is required for these programs. Is this the same as for general bank loans?
Okay, for the details, I said you can go to if you're looking for the New York State either grant or loan programs, you will find out the forms, application forms, and you will find all the details. I remember they will ask for some basic documents for the businesses, of course, basic things like where your business is located and how many people in your businesses and what are you looking for, and what specifically are you going to use that grant or loans for. So in that way, ESD they will evaluate the application and they will make the final decision, whether or not you are eligible for whatever, grant or loan programs for that. So you will find all the detailed requirements for filling out the form in that website.
And along with that, so is it okay to send a PDF of slides for people to be able to have those links available to them?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Next question. Are there any grants for new businesses? Less than 1 year old? And let's see. So this person wants to know a little bit more too about, who don't plan to do international business. So that is something that I think it would be great to get in touch with one of our advisors about.
Right.
They know all of the latest on things available for startups. And I can drop a link in the chat where you can get in touch with an advisor.
Yeah, it really depends where his or her business is located. You can contact our local office for that, as long as it's not something related to export. So.
Right.
But for less than 1 year in existence for the business, I don't think so.
Okay. Can you Can a company apply for both New York State and SBA loans or grants at the same time?
Yes, of course. Really depends, which money you really want and what specifically you are going to do. As long as you just, meet their requirements and you are eligible for that, you can do it at the same time. So.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to drop a few links in the chat here. And for those interested, yes, we will be sending out a recording tomorrow. So if you were not able to see the entire presentation today, you will be able to watch it on replay. And let me bring up our chat here and get these links sent to you all. And if there are any other questions, we'll give everyone just a minute to drop those in the Q&A box. Okay. So grab those links out of the chat here if you are interested in our advising services that are free, no cost, because we are funded through the SBA and New York State and our host institutions. All right, just a moment more for any other questions that people have. Okay, I think then that we are done. Jinshui, thank you so much. This was a webinar packed full of excellent information. And we thank you, our attendees, for joining today and for your patience with our technical difficulties. You will receive that follow-up email tomorrow with a link to the recording and a PDF for your reference with all the links that Jinshui had in his slides. We kindly ask you to take a few minutes to give us feedback in the webinar survey that displays after the webinar. If you have questions related to this webinar, you can always reply to that follow-up email. Thank you again and have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you.